Good evening, this is Cab. Here to drive you crazy. And of course, you can see it in the title. You can see it with the excitement in my voice. And of course, just for the proof of showing, not too much showing, boom, visa. Right there in my passport. Such a long process, so much heartache, so much worrisome, so much things that has constantly made me feel like ultimately, almost in the end of this all, I was not going to get this visa. But through God's grace, through the help of everyone who, came to my side and reached out to me, even if it was to say, hey, I have a friend's uncle who is a travel agent. He can help you out, hopefully. And just the fact that people reached out to me and did all that they could to make sure that they could help me and assist me with whatever was necessary to be assisted with. I can't thank you all enough for trying to, do everything you could for me, and ultimately finally getting to this, which is the ultimate thing. The one thing that was the worry, the one thing that was the holdback. And I finally got it. So I'm going to try to catch my breath a little bit because obviously just received it. Super excited right now. Still trying to get a few things clarified in my mind for it. But I do want to share, obviously, just what I had mentioned from my previous video, which basically was only a week ago, where I was explaining how I was not figuring out any of this in the first place. Very next day, I had shared this information with my auntie, and I give my auntie so much praise and so much thanks because without her guidance on this, we would not have received this anywhere close to this time period. I had not expected it to be within a week's time of from this last message that I received from them, which basically almost seemed like they didn't care to respond to my previous messages. And then all of a sudden, a week later, here I am with my visa in hand and ready to go. But I thank her because she really helped me and really broke it down for me in a way that I didn't realize I was doing wrong. So I just wanted to share a little bit of the information that I had received and go over a few things that was given to me so that way I can share with you guys if anyone is trying to apply for this visa, to go to the Philippines now. This one is by the Hawaii Consulate General. Um, this is going to be its own particular video just for the one in Hawaii, because I know there is one in California, one in Washington as well, and each place has their own set of requirements, which probably could be something close to this, but this is as far as what I know for the Hawaii one. So, the first thing is first, which is the only people that are able to apply for the visa is going to be a person that is a spouse, the child, or grandparents or parents of a Filipino national. Those are the only three groups: the spouse, the kids, or the grandparents or parents. And mostly all of them would have to have some kind of particular reasoning on why you're trying to show up for them. So that's why mine was saying mine is for my wife to be there before my daughter's birth, basically. To be there for financial support, obviously, emotional support. Just the fact that I am a dad now and I have to take my responsibilities as being a dad to be there for my wife, for my baby, before, you know, the fact that I'm going to become a parent. It really puts that generalization in my mind to say this was something that was necessary and why I took to the initiative to do it. So, first thing is first, the First requirement that is necessary, you're going to have to need a picture of your passport scanned, as well as one page of your what they call the information, where they normally put the stamps to say this is the time period you came in, and then they'll handwrite when you're supposed to leave, unless you file for your extension, or how I did for this visa, which will give you either your choice on how much you choose to pay for the visa. So normally there's a 3 months time period, which is $30, a 6 months for $60, that kind of route. And you'll basically get the sticker that will give you that time period. The non-immigration visitors visa form is what needs to be completely filled out. And there'll be a lot of subtle information that's going to be necessary to fill out, but everything needs to be filled out on that form, including the fact that you're going to need an affidavit for this to prove that you are applying it for the particular reason that you are. For myself, again, I did it for the spouse, so I had a typed out affidavit for that, as well as the notary stamp on that affidavit, as well as the visa form. The third requirement is going to be the itinerary for your flight. It is a necessary thing to either prove that you have a round trip flight or an ongoing flight. So for that one, depending on how you are going to choose to go about it, I decided to go with the direct flight and an exiting flight from the country. And that was my acceptability for that, because I didn't expect to pay for a round trip flight, knowing that my intent is not really to fly back to Hawaii. And the other flight that I did for the ongoing was just a cheap flight, just to say I had a leaving flight. So hopefully no one watches the video from the Immigration Bureau and doesn't try to take this out of context, because I am going to be filing for my extension visa to be up there with my wife for at least a couple of years. Next thing is the 2x2 picture, which is a necessary thing. I needed to get that one redone, because the one that I had was one that I had used from before, and they specifically saw on a Bureau of Immigration post that had said, do not repeat your previous 2x2 passport pictures, because they will not choose to accept it if it's a repeated one. You need a proof of your finances, so like a bank statement or like a pay stub of yours, just so that way you can show your proof that you are financially capable of living there. That's why the amount of money that I can make from a job here is more than enough money to be able to support, but at the same time, it's going there knowing that you're only staying there for a certain time period as well. One of the big ones, which is the one that I had completely not realized was actually necessary in the scanning and sent in, because and I apologize too, all this information I'm sending right now is what is necessary on the email that you send in. And the email is where you send all this information into first, so that way they can review it and then be able to tell you if you are able to then mail in the necessary things, which would be the form, your 2x2 picture, the passport, your marriage certificate, all that kind of stuff. But this one was a UPS priority mail with a tracking number on it, self-addressed. So that way, obviously, like when they were done with approving everything, they had something, so that way they can mail all your stuff back to you. The visa fee, obviously, by the money order I decided to go by, since I figured it's a little bit easier. $30 again for the 30 days, or you can spend the extra $10 so that way it can be expedited, which of course I decided to do, since trying to get this as soon as possible was better for me than anything else. And of course, lastly, which was one of my biggest concerns and worries when I first was trying to apply for it, which was the marriage certificate or the birth certificates or all that kind of stuff, which has to be PSA certified, which is the Philippine Security Authorization, I believe that's what it is. Yeah. And so when you have all of those filled out, all of the stuff completed, it has to be sent in a one specific connected, I guess what they call like a zip link, is how my auntie had described it to me, where it's all that information that I had shared to you. Basically, like I just had everything on a reprint right here for everything that I did, including, like I said, the return and all that kind of stuff. All of that was all sent in. So all information was given, filed, emailed, approved for them, said to send it in as soon as I could through the mail. And then obviously with the tracking, it helped me realize that I was going to be expecting it by today, and to see whether or not they gave me some kind of letter to say why it wasn't going to get approved, or with the fact that, like I said, I have the giant sticker inside of here now that says that I have this visa. One thing I will say though is that it does only go into effect when this sticker is applied. So right now it actually says that as of October 8th is when this visa is started. So until, I think it said January 7th is when this visa will, be dismissed. But at the exact same time, I hopefully should have my other visa by that point taken care of, for my extension to be able to stay there. Other little things that I will share as well, because this is now just my process since the hardship part is done. The other things that showed as requirements to even just go to the airport, of course, there's the necessary needs that you need to have before you're even allowed to go on this plane. If you do not have any of these requirements, they could, or maybe see if you could maybe find a place in the airport to buy it. I don't know if they will, but this is something I believe you should have with you before you get to the airport. The first thing is first, obviously, the mask. They are only going to accept surgical medical masks. That's why, like, for me, I kind of didn't understand that, because I have no problem wearing that one, but I had an N95 mask that I was wanting to wear for the specific reason of knowing that it's an N95 and I'd feel more comfortable wearing that one. But for their standard, I guess they kind of need it, because you do need to like take your face mask off when they're taking pictures, especially since it is international. For myself, it's a necessary thing to have that picture. Other than that, you will also need a face shield. A face shield is a necessary thing. You can't just go with your mask. You will have to have a face shield when you're going into the plane, on the plane. Even for me, I don't even know on the spacings. You are supposed to bring at least 100 milliliter hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol, and any other PPE, recommended items, so gloves and other hand sanitizing wipes, those kind of things, all recommended, all can be brought. So those are the little things that I still need to get collecting for myself now, since I do have all this time to be able to go But wanted to share that information, and I want to thank you all very much for watching. I am Cab, and I'm here to drive you crazy. Aloha, God bless, take care, and I'll see y'all later.